Okay, so picture this. You're an intelligence agent, right? And your entire job is to watch the angriest, loudest, most predictable people on the internet. And then one day, poof, they just go quiet. Not just one of them, but dozens all around the world. What could possibly do that? Well, today, we're diving into a fascinating fictional intelligence report that explores a kind of terrifying but maybe brilliant idea. What if a single file could make people actually think?
So here's the plan. We're going to follow an intelligence agent on his desperate hunt for a man who just went silent. Then we'll take a look at the whole architecture of online anger. After that, we'll uncover the secret tech that's supposedly dismantling it. And finally, this is the big one, we'll figure out how much of this wild story is actually real.
All right, so our story kicks off with a guy named Bryce Pembroke Hutchins. He's a fictional Five Eyes intelligence agent, and he's stuck in some remote Australian outpost. He's got billions of dollars of spy tech at his fingertips, but he has a very, very big problem.
And that's the whole mystery right there. Who's Gerald? Well, he's a 58-year-old plumber, and he was the agent's most reliable data point. This was a guy who, like clockwork, would just erupt with pure, incoherent fury online. And then, nothing. He just vanished from the digital map.
See, in the world of this story, people like Gerald aren't just angry dudes on the internet. They're called nodes, and this is a really key idea. Their absolute predictability is what makes these mass surveillance systems tick. They are the emotional bedrock that all the analysis is built on.
And this is how it works. This slide shows exactly how that messy human anger gets turned into cold, hard, usable data. Every little quirk, every typo, every randomly capitalized word, it all makes Gerald operationally perfect. For the analyst, he's not even a person anymore. He's a pattern. He's easy to track, easy to analyze, and super easy to predict.
So our agent starts digging. He's checking everywhere, Twitter, Telegram, all of it, but there's nothing. And here's the scary part. It's not just Gerald. Other reliable nodes, these loud, angry, predictable people from Manchester all the way to Sapporo, they're disappearing too. The whole system is losing its loudest voices.
Okay, so why is one plumber's silence a full-blown intelligence crisis? I mean, really? Well, to get that, we have to look at the system he was a part of. We have to ask, what is the real purpose of all this online anger?
The story gives us this pretty cynical model of how to control society. And the idea is, look, if you can just keep everyone divided into these warring tribes, you've got the pitchforked people over here and the torch people over there, they'll be so busy fighting each other that they will never, ever look up and notice the real power structures, the dark castle on the hill. This chart just nails it. It shows the whole goal perfectly. You want to keep the conflict between the groups at maximum volume, because as long as they're totally focused on each other, the dragon, the system itself, can just sleep soundly, completely undisturbed. Our agent is totally stumped. So he goes back to square one, Gerald's very last, very angry Facebook post. And there, buried in the comments, he finds one single, really unusual reply. And it changes everything. So get this. The link doesn't go to some website or a fancy app with servers you can track. Nope. It leads to a self-contained offline file, a single page, a debate interface with a very specific and, for the system, a very, very dangerous set of rules.
And this is the core mechanic. This fictional protocol is called Mutter, and it is the exact opposite of how people usually argue online. Instead of attacking a weak, distorted version of your opponent's view, a straw man, you are forced to build it up into its strongest possible form, a steel man. You have to prove you understand it. Only then are you even allowed to respond.
So the agent reports this new development, and he calls it terrible. But his supervisor, Helen, her reaction is way more chilling. She immediately gets how powerful a tool like this could be, a tool that forces understanding instead of just rage. She knows exactly what this could do.
So you're probably wondering, okay, come on, how much of this is actually possible? And the crazy thing is, a surprising amount of it. Peer-to-peer connections using WebRTC, hiding links in blockchain metadata, using VPNs to stay anonymous, this stuff isn't science fiction. These are all real existing technologies. The genius of the story is just combining them into a communication system that is, for all intents and purposes, completely invisible.
So the agent's worst fears come true when Gerald finally pops back up on Facebook. And the relief lasts for about, 4 seconds. Because it's immediately obvious that the guy who came back is not the guy who left.
I mean, just look at this transformation. Yeah, okay, the semicolon part is a bit of a joke, but the core change here is profound. The predictable data point, he's been replaced by someone who uses nuance, who structures his thoughts. He's not just reacting anymore, he's actually thinking.
And this right here, this gets to the absolute heart of the problem. From the perspective of a system that needs predictable rage to function, a citizen who thinks clearly isn't an asset. It's a catastrophic system failure. It breaks the entire model.
This is the ultimate fear, right? The Steelman thing doesn't just make you a better debater. It makes you question the very reasons you were angry in the first place. People stop fighting the culture wars they're served up, and they start asking fundamental questions about their own lives. They start looking at the dragon.
Okay, let's pull all of this together. It's a great story, but what's real and what's not? I mean, how much of this paranoid fantasy could actually happen?
This table really breaks it all down for us. The mass surveillance state, the sentiment analysis, using algorithms to amplify outrage and keep us divided, all of that is disturbingly factual. The technology to create an untraceable peer-to-peer communication tool, also very much a fact. But the magic bullet, a single HTML file that instantly rewires your brain for critical thinking, that, for now, is still fiction. That kind of skill takes education and practice and a real desire to learn, not just double-clicking a file. And this is the final, chilling directive that the supervisor adds to the report. It's basically an admission that even if the tool isn't magic, the idea of people having unmonitored, constructive conversations is a genuine threat to their system of control.
And the story ends with this beautiful, ironic twist. The human result is wonderful, right? A man is calmer. His marriage is getting better. But from the cold, analytical viewpoint of the surveillance state, this amazing personal growth is a sign of systemic collapse.
And that's the agent's final realization. The system is failing. It's failing because people are learning not just to shout, but to actually listen. They're starting to look away from the torches and the pitchforks, and they're looking up towards the castle.
And so we're left with this final thought. Most of the tech in the story is real. It's the human part, the discipline to think critically, that's the hard part. It really makes you wonder, in a world that profits from all our division, could the simple act of trying to understand each other be the most revolutionary thing we can do?